I get it when you're standing on a construction site, a grading project, or even just a DIY job in the backyard. The last thing you want is to guess whether the line you're laying out is truly straight. You've probably spent a few minutes scrolling through endless laser-level options, wondering if you'll end up with a device that's either overkill or just won't hold a straight line on a windy day. That hesitation is real, because the wrong tool can waste a whole day of labor and a chunk of your budget. I've been there, and I want to walk you through why the Leica Geosystems 601-1150 Rugby 610 horizontal flat plane laser might actually be the middle ground you've been looking for. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the kind of work where this laser shines. Imagine you're laying a concrete slab that needs to be level across a 150-foot span, or you're setting up a series of fence posts, where each post has to sit at the exact same height. The Rugby 610 is built for those horizontal applications, and because it self-levels within a 5-degree tilt, you don't need to spend time fussing with a tripod or fine-tuning the instrument before you start. You just press one button, and the laser snaps to a flat plane. In practice, that means you can get the machine out of the box, set it up on a rough surface, and be ready to take measurements within a minute. For crews that move from job site to job site, that speed can shave off a half day of setup time. Now, range is always a hot topic. The Rugby 610 can project its beam up to 2,000 feet when you pair it with a compatible laser receiver. In real life, you won't need a receiver for every job, but on larger sites, think a commercial parking lot, or a big-scale landscaping project, that extra reach becomes a genuine advantage. You can walk a few hundred feet away, still see a bright, clear line, and keep the crew aligned without having to relocate the laser constantly. For smaller residential jobs, the built-in range is more than enough, and you'll rarely need the receiver, keeping your gear list light. Accuracy is another point that trips people up. Leica lists an accuracy of 3/32 of an inch at 100 feet, which translates to about 2.4 millimeters. On a job where you're laying a floor that must be perfectly level across a whole room, that tolerance is basically invisible to the naked eye. In my experience, the difference between good enough and exact shows up when you're installing things like tile, where even a millimeter off can cause a lippage issue later. The Rugby's precision means you can trust that the line you're following is truly level, without having to double-check with a tape measure every few feet. One of the biggest hidden trade-offs with any laser level is how it handles the elements. The Rugby 610 carries an IP67 rating, meaning it's dust-tight, and can survive being submerged in up to a meter of water for a short period. For us, that translates to peace of mind on a rainy day, or when the site gets dusty from earth moving. You can leave the unit out on the ground, and it won't freak out if a sudden squall hits. The downside is that, because it's sealed to that degree, the unit is a bit heavier than some ultralight models you might find for indoor use only. If you're a solo contractor who needs to lug equipment up ladders or through narrow doorways all day, you'll notice the extra heft. It's a trade-off, durability for a few extra pounds. Who should definitely consider this laser? If you're a professional contractor, a landscape crew, or a site manager who routinely handles horizontal layouts on medium to large outdoor sites, the Rugby 610 checks a lot of boxes. Its quick one-button operation, long range with a receiver, and high accuracy make it a solid workhorse that won't force you to compromise on any major factor. It also works well for owners who are tackling big DIY projects, say, building a deck that spans a large patio, or installing a garden irrigation system that needs a level pipe run. In those scenarios, the reliability you get from a brand like Leica can save you from costly rework. On the flip side, there are people who can safely skip this model. If you only ever need a laser for small indoor tasks like hanging pictures, aligning cabinets, or setting up a short piece of trim, there are cheaper, lighter handheld options that will do the job just fine. The Rugby's durability and range are overkill for a 10-foot wall. Also, if you're on a very tight budget, you might find a lower-priced Chinese brand that promises similar specs, but you'll likely sacrifice the self-leveling robustness and the IP67 protection that Leica guarantees. In those cases, spending the extra dollars on the Rugby might not deliver a proportional return. Let's break down the practical strengths one more.